It's the 5th of March, 2003. This is Brian Meadow, and I'm reporting for the West Volusia Historical Society. Mr. Arden Shaw is just finishing what he's been doing for the last 50+ years, cutting some hair. We're located at his shop, which has been here for a long time. Mr. Shaw knows a lot of history about downtown DeLand, and certainly about barbering in general. We're privileged to have you here, Mr. Shaw. Well, come to think of it, since this is your story, I guess you ought to be sitting in this chair rather than me. Do you mind if we swap?
When and where were you and when you decided to become a barber, and what were you doing immediately before that time?
Well, before that time I was making ice at an ice plant up in Pearson, and delivering ice and making ice, and I was working there under the GI Bill. Back in them days, you could go to school and learn how to do different things, and so I went to this ice plant and worked for this fella, and the government paid part of the bill, and I was making about $40 a week. And as time went by, I realized that I was really wasting my GI Bill on learning how to make ice, when you could learn how, to make ice in about 15 minutes. Well, I realized I was really wasting my GI Bill, so I decided that I would try to take up something that would be more profitable, and so I went out to Boise, Idaho, to Barber College, and
From Pearson to Boise, why so far to go to a barber college?
well, my sister and her husband lived in Idaho, and they told me that if we come out there, they would give my wife Louise a job working in a dime store selling candy. Back in them days, they had a lot of women working in dime stores, and they had their own dime store in Nampa, Idaho. And so, since my wife had never been out of Florida, she was a Floridian, born and raised in Pearson, that sounded like a good thing to do. So we did, and we had a nice time out there. We went out there in the fall of 1945, 48 rather.
48.
And went to Barber College there in Boise.
How long were you in college?
I was about 6 months there. And we had a nice time living in...
Did you work as a barber out there?
No, after I graduated, we decided to come back. Well, we didn't know where to go, but we went to North Dakota to begin with, where I was born and raised, and visited there throughout the summer, and worked on the farms. And then that fall, we came back to Florida, and I still didn't think I wanted to cut hair. For some reason, I wasn't sure that I wanted to be a barber, even though I had my license and all. So I got a job driving a truck, big semi from here to New York every week, delivering flowers and ferns and potted plants and so on. But I drove for about 1.5 years, and I realized that that wasn't what I wanted to do. So then I was looking for a job, and there was an opening here in this shop. And at that time it was owned by a man by the name of Cloris Bohren, E. Bohren, B-O-H-R-E-N. And I went to work here in about October of 1951. And I think the first week I made about $45, and the haircuts were $1 at that time when I started. And well, I made a couple dollars more than I did in the ice plant, and I thought that was wonderful. So I kept on going, and more and more I liked my work. And back in them days, flat tops were popular, and I did well with them, and so I became rather popular with my flat tops with the Stetson students and the young people. And
Did the Stetson football team come by for a haircut?
oh yes, yeah, lots of football players. At that time, the boss, Mr. Bourne, his boy, his name is Donald Bourne, and he still lives here in DeLand. And he was at Stetson. He was going to Stetson, and he was a captain of the band, and also he was a captain of the ROTC band, and he was very popular. And they'd have these games, football games, and big parades in the fall of the year. And
So you were the best at giving a crew cut and happy to be one of Mr. Boren's better barbers. So how long did that go on?
well, I worked for him for many years, about 19 years. And he decided he wanted to retire. He was not that old either. He was about 64 years old, I believe, but he wanted to retire. And so I had an opportunity to buy the business, and that was in 1970. It was, I took over on January the 1st of 1970. And my first customer, his name was Joe McGraw, and he gave me $2. Haircuts were $2, and they gave me 2 brand new $1 bills and signed his name on them. Joe McGraw, and I still have them today. He's been deceased since then, but then in about the middle of July, I'd say, of '71, Mr. Bourne decided he would sell me the building too. So I bought the building in 1971, and
Did you buy it outright or finance the deal?
he financed it through him, and that worked out really.
He held the mortgage.
I had no problems.
And you were paid off after how many years?
About 8.5 years.
Not bad.
And it was a real good deal for me and for him too. At least he thought it was.
Well, it sounds to me that by that time, you decided maybe being a barber was a good career after all.
Yes, I got to where I liked it more and more. At first I was more or less kind of backward with people. I came from North Dakota.
Not many people there.
And when you see people, you run and hide somewhere because you know you weren't used to people. So it took me a while to get to liking people and to working with them. Now today I don't know what I'd do if I couldn't be with people.
At the time you first owned the shop, excuse me sir, at the time you first owned it, did you have the same number of chairs that we see here today?
Yes, it's always been a 3-chair shop since I came here. I think at one time, many years ago, there were more chairs, but that's been a long time ago. And,
Now the shop, I think we were saying, looks about the same, but you have made certain changes over the years to the shop. What have you done to modify the shop?
well, When I came here to work for Mr. Bourne, there was a tin ceiling, metal ceiling in here, and it's still there, but it was so high up that when we began to air condition the place, we had to drop the ceiling down, and so we did do that, and then a few years later we dropped it again, and then when I took over, I dropped it one more time. So now then the ceiling is there's there's 3 ceilings in this, and I put the last one up here, and I also put this wing, if you want to call it, or this wallboard on here, and some new lighting on the back bar, and also put a restroom in the back. We had a restroom outside for all those years, but now we have inside plumbing and inside restroom.
Excellent.
That was done about 10 years ago. And
I think we were talking earlier, Mr. Shaw, that at one time there was actually 2 businesses running in your shop. There was the barber business and something else.
the shoe shine, yeah. We had a shoe shine for many years. The first one when I came here to work for Mr. Bourne, he had a black fella, and his name was Jones, and he worked for many years, and finally he quit, and then we've had several others, and some white ones, young and old, but little by little people began to buy shoes that didn't need to be shined, and the shine stand, as you probably see in the pictures, was just sitting here taking up space. So I finally sold it to some people in New York and some people that buy and sell antiques, and I have pictures of them on the wall here showing what they did with it. You may want to look at.
Excellent. Now, at the time that the Shoe Shine Parlor was about to go out of business, do you remember the difference in the price of a haircut versus the price of a shine?
I don't quite remember, but I think they had gone up to maybe about $1 a shine.
Mm-hmm.
And at that time, probably haircuts were something like $3 or so.
$3 for a haircut and about $1 for a shine.
Yeah, right. As near as I can remember.
Was the tipping based pretty much the same back in those days as it is now? 15%, 20%?
Pretty much, I'd say. Usually $1 haircut, you got a quarter a lot of time for a tip.
Mm-hmm.
And then they finally went up to $1.
Yeah.
And then, of course, now we charge $8, but they usually give a stand.
Yeah.
So that's the way it goes.
Well, we know, of course, that when you came in 1951, this was already a pretty old facility. Do you know about when it first appeared as a barber shop in downtown DeLand?
Well, as near as I could tell, I looked into the history a few years ago and talked to the man that used to be tax assessor. And he told me that he would look it up and see. And he told me that it looked like the record showed this was opened up in about 1980, or built in 1980 rather.
1880.
Right, and opened up as a barber shop. And it's been a barber shop all those years, with the exception of about a year, less than a year. In 1941, 42, it ceased to be a barber shop for a few months. It was during the war days. And it became an old couple moved in here and lived in the back here, and then they repaired watches, a jeweler in the front. But then before the year was up, Mr. Bourne came and bought the building and put it right back into a barber shop.
So, with the exception of that 1 year, since 1880, the address 134 North Woodland has been a barber shop right up until the present day.
Yes, as far as I know, it's always been. And if you'd like to know the owners, I do have their names, but I didn't have to give them to you after a while. But I am the 4th owner during all those years, so that means that each one has averaged over 30 years apiece. You know.
Sir, do you know of any business within this few blocks area? Do you know of any business that has been operating longer as its present configuration than your barber shop?
The only ones I can kind of think of that were here, but they were in different places.
Yes.
They're not in the same, kept in this block.
I guess that's the main point, that this is an original, and here it is still today.
Yeah, there's no other business in this block that was here.
What kind of businesses actually did leave this area, this block, that you kind of miss?
Oh, I miss Fountain's Men's Store, for one, and Red's Quick Lunch.
Red's Quick Lunch.
Yeah.
What was his specialty like?
It was real good. He had a hamburger steak, not so big around, and you could watch him cook it right there on the grill by the window there.
Sounds good.
You bellied up to the bar there and waited for him to make your hamburger steak, and very popular.
Has anybody else left?
Yeah, there's a lot of them, like right next door was a shoe store. It was called the Family Shoe Store. And
Did they sell all brands or just one brand?
several brands, I believe. And then next door on the other side, here on the north side, was a dress shop. An elderly couple had a dress shop there, but they went out, and then there became a shoe store, another shoe store, Beatles shoe store. Then there was a lot of restaurants like Kukuras and Condoms, and then the drugstores. There was one on the corner up here, I think it was called Smith's Drugstore.
Smith's Drug.
Another one on that corner, another one on that corner.
But you ate at Red's more often than any of the others?
Yes, I did eat at Kukura's once in a while.
Yes.
And,
Did the block, let's go back to those early years when you were working for Mr. Bohr, and you were first buying the shop. Can you think of how the scenery looked a little bit different, just glancing up and down Woodland?
well, if I remember right, there was more, the parking was different.
Okay.
At one time, I think they had parking, there was parking meters and so on.
Mm-hmm. Were there, so we had meters right on Main Street rather than free parking with a time limit? If you had enough coins, you could stay. Okay.
It's something I hadn't thought about, but I know we had meters around town.
Mm-hmm.
I think they were on the boulevard too.
Mm-hmm. Now, over the years, and I'm sure as a proprietor, you can answer this one. Over the years, has there been a difference in the change in the volume of business, the number of customers coming in every day?
Yeah, I think a little bit. Well, it's always been a good business. We've always had a lot of, we had a good trade from Stetson students and the local young people and all the others too, the regular people. So it's always been a pretty good business.
Was there a period where it dropped off a little bit?
Not really that I can remember, other than
I remember that men started wearing their hair longer at one time. Did that not hurt you?
Oh yes, there was that time. I can tell about how, when what were they that came over from?
Oh, the Beatles.
The Beatles.
Ladies and gentlemen, the Beatles.
Yeah, I could tell you a story about that if you want.
Sure.
But I kind of remember, like, first of all, I couldn't believe that anybody would want to, think that a Beatle was anything. and the first thing was, the scene was, that was, we'll say a guy, a young fellow, 16 years old, I say. Him and his mom and his dad was coming in the front door there, and he was crying, and they were pulling him by the arm, telling him to come on in. He's going to have to get his hair cut whether he wanted to or not. And he would be crying because he didn't want his hair cut. And both mom and dad wanted him to get a haircut. Well, finally he'd get his hair cut, but he never came back. In other words, the Beatles went over big, with the young people, and the girls went crazy over the Beatles. And so the young guys that were 16 years old, I say 16, became old men
Yes.
before they ever came back.
So we had, that's a great story. We had the crew cut period in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
We had the longer hair and the mop look during the 60s. Were there any other changes in men's style that you've had to adapt to?
The long hair, finally, finally those old men came back with long hair. But they finally got enough nerve to come to the shop. Got to the point at that age, their wives and the girls didn't matter anymore, so much. But they wanted to get that hair off. That is, some of them wanted to get it way short, but most of them wanted just a decent haircut. But by that time, it was a full haircut. It was nice full haircut, like most of them. Well, even today now, some of them are getting it real short. But
Such as myself.
the average, like back then, they were getting it more full than you have.
Mhm. How many men come in and ask for their head to be shaved?
There are not a lot of them, but there is some right now.
Is that a recent development?
Yes, it is, in the last couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not very popular. That is, we don't do a lot of that. Some of them do their own, since they can get a clipper and do it themselves pretty well. A lot of them are doing their own that way, that short.
Did you always have lady customers, or is that also a recent development?
There's always been ladies, and most of them were elderly ladies that like to have a taper on their neckline and shorten it up around just a comfortable haircut.
Right from the start?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But you didn't have lady barbers from the start?
No. The lady barbers was the first one came here to this shop, and I think it was in 1992. And write-up about her. And Dory Gallagher was her name, and it was quite a new thing. And so there was a write-up in the paper about her.
When Miss Gallagher came to work for you, was it good for business?
Yes, it was. People wanted to see the Lady Barber, and little by little, it got to where we had to hire them because the men barbers began to fall off.
Mhm.
And today, that's another thing. I don't know where there is a barber college anymore.
Really?
It's that bad. I think there might be some private ones. In fact, there was one over in West Florida.
Mhm.
About 6 years ago. I was looking for a barber. So I finally found this college and called, and they said that they were all spoken for. And if I remember right, the price to go to private school was so high, $5,000 to $6,000 or more. And that kind of answers the question as to
Yeah.
why isn't there more men
Yes.
barbers when you can go to the county level and go to school for almost nothing and learn how to be a beautician and come out and get a $14 job, or you can go pay $5,000 to $6,000 to become a barber and get an $8 job.
That makes sense, economic sense. So 82 is your breakthrough year. You were a pioneer, with the first in the region to have a lady barber. How many lady barbers work here now?
There's one just did leave to go out to California, but before she did, we had 5. Now we got 4 ladies.
How many men besides you cut
There's
here?
just 2 men besides myself, and they're retired, so they just work part-time.
Mhm.
And
Are your hours the same as ever?
pretty much, other than on Saturday. On Saturdays, we used to be open late years ago, till about 7 o'clock. And then little by little it got to be, and now today we're open till just 2 o'clock.
Was it
Saturday.
that you just didn't have the customers that late in the day?
It seemed like things, yeah, right. It changed because, and I don't know why, other than the shopping centers and the way people shop, you know. I think that's changed their habits.
Sir, as a businessman or as a shop owner, can you think of any major challenges that you've had to overcome?
Can't really think of anything.
If it's been smooth sailing, that's okay too.
Yeah, it's been real.
And you, let's see, as I recall, you said that you still commute each day from the place where you started out, Pearson.
Yes, I travel, it's 20 miles from my house to this door here. So it takes me about 30 minutes one way. But it's always been a pleasure. I have always enjoyed the drive, both morning and evening. In the morning, I get woke up by the time I get here, and in the evening, I get relaxed by the time I get home. So it's been good. I wouldn't want to go any other direction though. I mean, like south to Orlando, that would be too much traffic.
Over the years, surely you've had a few people here that are just a little more famous or a little more notorious than average Joe citizen. Can you think of a few of them?
Yes, I can. Some of them, like at Stetson, there was the presidents at Stetson. Ollie Edmonds was one of the first ones, one of the first one I ever knew, and he was real popular.
The man after whom the Edmonds Center is named?
Yeah, Ollie Johnny Edmonds, and very great fellow. And then there was others too. I can't remember all their names, but Pope Duncan, he's still living too. Well, Ollie's gone, but Pope is still here, and he still comes to the shop.
And he is best known for what?
He was the president too.
President of
at
Stetson.
He left here for a few years, but he came back, and
Mhm.
he's residing here now. And so there's been, and all the faculty at Stetson, a lot of the faculty, different ones, I can't say their names right now, but
Each and every department? Business,
yeah,
history,
almost every-
music?
Business was one of them, and music, like Richard or Dick Fiesel, he's still around.
Yes.
And he spends his winters here, and his summers in the Carolinas.
Yes.
And he was a real good leader in music.
Have you had any local, regional, or national politicians get their hair cut?
Yes, that is, yeah, quite a lot of the local politicians have come in from time to time. And also, Jimmy Carter, the president, came
Wow.
in. And he came before he became
Did he want a
president.
haircut, or did he just want to do some politicking?
He was campaigning at that time, and he came down this side of the street and came into every business place, him and a couple other fellows. But he came in, he was campaigning, and he came in and shook hands with everybody. And meanwhile, at the same time, his wife, whatever her name is, Rosamund, she was across the street going into all those places, shaking hands with people and campaigning. And at that time, of course, we didn't know that he was going to become president. But, and there has been others, like ROTC colonels and officers. One of them I can think of is Colonel Apgar, who now his son is city manager, isn't it? Or, yeah. And Colonel Rayner was another one. And, so we knew a
Any
lot
big
of-
time athletes come here?
I never was much on athletes, and I know there was some, but I can't think of their names right now.
Okay, well, let's just assume that Joe DiMaggio got a haircut here then. Since you don't, I guess you would have known him. I've always heard that the best place to get your local gossip, your local news, and to know what the political trends are, the best place to come is a barber shop. Is that still true?
I think it is in some shops. However, in this shop, I have to say there wasn't a lot of that. It was more, we didn't talk about politics much. And a lot of times if somebody was running for something and wanted me to advertise their campaigning and all, I would also, if they would leave some pamphlets, that was all right, but I would also, anybody. I
So you
wouldn't
gave
push
equal
anyone.
time?
Yeah. I never did go for anyone, no matter how much I might want. This other guy, I never expressed mine. And I found that it's better that way to let people guess.
Yes, yes, I think so. I think that was a prudent move on your part. One of the old-fashioned facets of barber shop is no longer here, and that would be, of course, your shoe shine parlor. How about another old facet of barber shopping, the barber shop quartet? Has a quartet ever sung here?
Oh, no, that was something, for some reason, it never did I guess none of us could sing.
Well, possibly the West Volusia Historical Society can find a barbershop quartet to do you justice. Would you mind that?
Maybe they could, I don't know.
We'll let you audition them, how's that? Is there anything else that you meant to tell us about your business or about the history of downtown that we failed to cover?
I think you pretty well covered most of it. It's been a nice place to do business right here. I've enjoyed it all these years, and more and more, it seems like as time goes by. It's real, meets so many interesting people, and it's a busy area here with the courthouse and Stetson and all the government offices and so on. We have the state road department close by in the city, and it's a very interesting community right here, and I think it's got a lot of potential, you know, for any future businesses that even though we're having big super centers coming in, they won't hurt the right kind of business downtown.
I think you're right, Mr. Shaw. I think that the flavor and the tradition of downtown DeLand is just too rich to go away.
Yeah, you want to, if you got something that's, the people are here, all you need is something that they want.
So if you ask me, in conclusion, if you ask me, for a reluctant barber, our man, Mr. Arden Shaw, has done honor to his profession, and he has definitely furthered business downtown in a way that any proprietor could be proud of. Mr. Shaw, I am really grateful for you giving us this time.
Well, you're sure welcome. It's been a pleasure. And the way we sharpen these razors is we take a hone and hone the razor first. This puts little teeth in the edge of the razor. And then we have to take and knock those teeth off. So we use this razor strop here.
What's the strop made out of?
This is pig skin here on this side, and then we mark off those teeth with the pig skin, and then we smooth it up with this cowhide on this side. And this is why we
Now that's the old-fashioned method, but do you sometimes still use that razor?
And I don't myself. Some barbers still do. I need to show you the kind of razor I do use now. I have to step over here to do that razor.
How is this razor different than the one you were just showing?
Listen here, we don't need to strop it or anything, but we insert a blade, and that probably you can see how I've inserted this your little, they call it a mini blade. And so if your razor gets dull, just insert a new blade. Then you don't have to strop it or roll it.
How often do you change that blade?
This does go for a couple of days unless you run into problems.
The razor you just showed us, the red one, that would have been used about what period of time?
Well, it was used probably long before I went into barber school.
The early 1900s, 1920s, 30s, 40s?
Mm-hmm.
Would a man use one at home like that, or just a barber?
Yes, yeah. These are the kind that they would use at home. And some barbers still use them, but very few. It's so much easier to use the inserts.
Where would the manufacturer be of that kind of a razor? Where would it be made?
So many, most of them are made in Germany.
I see.
still in Germany, and some were made in England.
So that old razor doesn't get used anymore, the strop does not get used anymore. Is there anything else here that you no longer use?
This is a clipper, a hand clipper, to cut the hair with. We used to have to do it by this, and it would pull, and people.
Okay, whatever you don't cut, you can pull.
Yeah. So then they finally got to where they could use electric clippers.
Did you ever personally use one of those?
Really, I never did. I never had to, because we always had electricity. And I think even if I didn't have electricity, I wouldn't use one. They pull, so.
Were they slow, was it slower or faster to use the hand-operated clippers?
Oh, much faster to use electric.
The electric.
These were slow and
I would think.
hard to use.
All right. Is there any other antique equipment? Well, my gosh, aren't you leaning on one of those fairly old
Oh, yeah, these
pieces?
chairs.
The chair?
I'll show you this, but shall we, to shade people, I'll get this.
So there's a headrest when you're shading them?
Real quick. I guess this is a headrest. Goes in here like that. And then there's a roll of paper goes on here. And then they lay the head on there. And then you lay them back, turn the handle like this. And then you lay them back like this. And then they lay down and then shake them.
Did your customer go to sleep when he was in that reclining position?
Very seldom, although some did. They get relaxed.
Yeah.
A lot of people enjoy a shave, or also massaging, face massages. In fact, I gave one just the other day. There's not very many calls for massages anymore, but it's relaxing, and it used to be quite a few years ago.
The chair looks pretty old to me, Mr. Shaw. About how old is it?
As far as I know, these chairs here are probably in the 20s, built in the 20s.
So it's over 80 years old.
The chair itself is pretty old. Yeah.
Has it been reupholstered?
Yes, in fact, I've done it twice since I've had these. When I came here, there was some chairs that were even older, and their name was Koken, just like this. This is Koken. It's a famous brand.
That also sounds like a German name.
Yeah, I think so. And
German?
they're still making them in this country, but they're pretty expensive. I imagine somewhere around $3,000.